Chapter 6. HATHOR. It's a busy night at Toshi's Jazz House and Restaurant in Oakland, with many customers having dinner prior to a jazz performance by Naji. Ptah, Sheba, Hassan, Azar, Sai, and Jake Castle are seated upstairs in a special section that requires shoes be removed and for customers to sit in low, pit-like dinner settings that resemble Japanese culture and customs. The meal has been served, and they are having a discussion regarding Ptah's upcoming fight with Zombie. Azar appears to be having problems trying to eat with his chopsticks. He holds his chopsticks up and motions for a waiter.
I've never been able to work these things, even in the service. You young people can have it. I've got to do my American thing now.
Sheba is amused. You didn't even give it a serious effort. You should try harder, Azar. That's what you always tell Ptah.
Ptah is in agreement. Yeah, old man. You're throwing in the towel too early.
When a waiter finally comes over to their table, Azar simply holds up the chopsticks and the message is conveyed. The waiter quickly responds to his request. So you need some silverware. No problem. This is a regular request from many of Toshi's customers. He has a set of silverware on hand and gives it to Azar. Azar is delighted.
You just made my day. Now I can really enjoy this meal.
Everyone is amused, including the waiter. Hassan then opens up for a more serious matter.
Jake, you seem to be really concerned about this next fight.
So you think this Zombie is a real master of the arts and that we should train a lot harder, huh? Everyone's focus is on Jake to hear his first-hand observations of this Brazilian maestre. Jake takes a sip of his hot sake and breathes a sigh of concern.
This Zombie is a man of tremendous talent. Man, you gotta see him in action. He's a strong contender, a real master in the ring. I was amazed at how quick and fluid his movements are, and how he dominates the ring.
This man is dedicated to the art of capoeira, and comes from a strong fighting culture with deep roots.
Ptah will have to use all of his skills and power to defeat this master of capoeira. Azar inquires further and is somewhat amused by Jake's impression of Zombie.
Jake, what happened to you down there? Did those Brazilians hire you to be Zombie's new fight promoter in America? I've never seen you this impressed with a new contender.
Ptah is deep in thought and pondering everything that has been said about Zombie.
Azar, that's because Jake has never seen a fighter like this before.
He really thinks this man can match my speed, and that he has a sixth sense in the ring. A real master of the arts.
This is going to be a real contest, and I'm planning to train harder. I've waited a long time for this type of challenge.
As always, Azar appreciates the confidence of the fighter he has worked with for so many years.
Good. Let's go to the limits. I'll have film footage of Zombie's last 3 fights in a couple of days. We will also begin to examine the strengths and weaknesses of his fighting style.
Sheba stops eating and looks at Ptah with deep concern. Ptah, if this is the real master of the arts you've been talking about, then you've got to be in the best condition of your career. Hassan agrees. She's right, brother. We definitely have got to be super ready for this one. Sai joins in with his observations. This is good, Ptah. You'll finally get a chance to meet someone that can match your abilities. You'll move to the next level with this fight, and that's what you need to do. Azar nods in full agreement.
We'll be ready. I think this bout is going to provide an opportunity for many things. What's the situation on Roland, Ptah? Has his condition improved any?
Ptah sighs deeply. I hear he's still in a coma, and his family still refuses to talk to me. It's been nearly 3 months, and they've shown nothing but anger and hostility. I've tried to express my regret over Roland's situation,
However, the Akans seemed bent on some kind of revenge. I was the only thing standing in their way of controlling 2 major divisions in this game. Don't worry about it, Ptah. It'll pass. Everybody knows that it was unintentional. Those are the risks you assume in this game, and that's the hard reality. But we also have to be aware of what the Akans are planning to do, and Zynga is a deranged old lady that we definitely cannot ignore, Azar said.
Azar glances down at his watch and tells everyone,
"Hey, I think that the show is going to start soon. We need to finish eating so we can get some good seats. I don't want to miss any of Najee."
Sai also takes a look at his watch to verify the time for his engagement for the evening.
"I hope you guys enjoy the show this evening. I'm scheduled to meet Mom and Tari at the Bay Area Institute of African Chematology this evening at 8:30 to hear Hathor's symposium on ancient Egypt. Hathor really wants us to be there. She's a brilliant woman, and I'm really looking forward to hearing her speak."
Ptah is pleased to hear that Sai's found a woman he can appreciate.
"That's great, brother. This Hathor seems to be a very interesting person. I'm glad to hear that things are coming together for you two. She really was insisting that Tari and Lady Dogon be there, huh?" "Yeah. She said that this was going to be one of the most important symposiums of her career. She's been a true inspiration, Ptah. I really enjoy being with her," Sai said.
Jake was pleased to hear this as well.
"I'm glad to see you making more time for the women folk, Sai. I was beginning to worry about you."
"She's the special one, Jake. She's going to show Sai the secrets of the universe," Sheba said jokingly.
"I knew those two were meant for each other the first time he told us how weird she was," Azar said mockingly.
Everyone laughed as they began to wrap up the evening's meal. Ptah looks over at Azar and passes him the bill.
"Okay, old man, since you're so full of jokes tonight, you can pay the bill." "No problem, young blood. Just pass me your credit card and I'll be glad to take care of this," Azar said with a rollicking laugh.
Sheba takes the bill from Azar and passes it to a waiter and tells him to put it on the Dogon account. She then looks at Sai to tell him to enjoy his evening. "I hope tonight's symposium will be very special for you, Sai."
"I sincerely think it will, Sheba. I really feel like something special is going to happen this evening," Sai said,
with a somewhat mystical look on his face. Sai arrives at the Pyramid Auditorium a little after 8:30 p.m. and begins to search the lobby for Lady Dogon and Tari. The auditorium is packed with scholars, professors, students, Egyptologists, and others from around the world. This is expected to be a very special night, the last day of an exciting 5-day symposium that shook the foundations of world history and modern Egyptology. New discoveries on the continent of Africa had clearly demonstrated the existence of 2 primary civilizations 7,000 years before the first dynastic era began in ancient Kemet, and it was appropriate that these developments be revealed at the Bay Area Institute of African Chematology, the established mecca of a multicultural base of eminent scholars from around the world, focused on a revision of African history and world civilization. Indeed, this new school of thought attracted some of the best minds from various disciplines, from physics, astronomy, biology, geology, Egyptology, medicine, and several other disciplines. This was an exciting time for Africa, for African people, and the world community. Working his way through the crowd, Sai spots Tari and Lady Dogon standing near Portal 11, talking with one of the African chematologists from the University of Dakar in Senegal. Both Tari and Lady Dogon are dressed elegantly for the occasion, and are delighted to see their family member. They exchange greetings in Dogon custom.
"Sai, glad to see you made it on time. We should try to get some seats up front," Tari said.
"Son, This is Professor Rahotep Diop from the University of Dakar. He's been filling us in on some of the major highlights of this week's symposium, Lady Dogon said. It's a pleasure meeting you, Professor Diop. I've read a couple of your books and follow your research very closely. HATHOR has told me a lot about you, Sai said. Professor Diop is very excited this evening. At 72 years of age and over 50 years of struggle on the battlefield of African chematology, he is delighted to see the enormous global support for their new school of thought.
The pleasure is mine as well, Osiris. Your brilliant work in physics and superconductivity has many of us wondering if you plan to defy the laws of gravity, the professor said.
Sai smiles mischievously.
That is my plan, Professor. But tell me a little about what happened this week. As you know, the Institute of African Chematology has been very active since the start of the millennium in extensive primary research in the field. Within the last 12 months, we have discovered some incredible things on the African continent, which will fundamentally change many aspects of world history and civilization. We have found tablets dating back 10,000 years, underground pyramids in southern Sudan, and 2 lost civilizations predating Kemet by 7,000 years. This week will go down in history, and tonight we will explain and summarize what all of this means in a global context, Diop stated.
Lady Dogon inquires about Hathor's role in all of this. Is Hathor one of your primary researchers? The professor glows when he hears Hathor's name.
Hathor is an extraordinary multi-genius. At the age of 33, this young lady is gifted in ways we will never understand. She is fluent in over 25 different languages, well-versed in physics and astronomy, is a mathematical whiz, a top expert in chematology, and that's just for starters. She travels extensively and is one of our foremost field researchers. Since her arrival 3 years ago, she has become one of the esteemed master teachers in our institute. Hathor will be the final speaker tonight, and we are looking forward to her closing presentation.
Just then, ushers begin telling everyone that the symposium is about to begin. The crowd moves quickly to get seated. Professor Diop graciously excuses himself in order to make his way to his seat on stage as one of the presenters. Sai holds up 3 special passes, indicating that they have reserved seating near the stage area. Hathor had made special arrangements for the Dogons and particularly requested Lady Dogon's presence. Hathor's final presentation this evening is entitled The Unveiling of Ancient African Civilization. Intrigued by Hathor's invitation, Lady Dogon and Tari broke previous engagements to witness the young genius in action. They are also very interested in learning more about Sai's new girlfriend. Hathor is seated with 4 other scholars on stage, awaiting the start of this special occasion. The ushers have been instructed to close all doors on the lower and balcony levels leading into the auditorium. Lights have been lowered, and special lighting effects are focused on the stage area. A large rostrum with a step resembling a religious pulpit is positioned on center stage. Hathor surveys the audience and is particularly delighted to see that Lady Dogon is present. The auditorium, which resembles an amphitheater in the middle of a pyramid-shaped building, is packed with nearly 5,000 people. Hathor begins to quietly meditate, with her eyes half closed, while each of her 4 colleagues give their presentations. She is conscious of every word spoken, of every image and multimedia displayed in the Power Digital presentations. Her mind is slowly engulfing the entire audience, bringing them closer to the reality sphere of the pneumo. She wants to become one with her audience, to bring them into her world, to be their guide to truth and justice, to peace and love, to science and mathematics. Lady Dogon is focused on Hathor, how she is dressed in a black and silver-laced dress with a large V-shaped collar. She observes her mystical aura and her meditative countenance. Hathor's hair is in thick, long black braids that extend below her shoulders. She is petite and short in stature. Her face is oval and smooth, and she appears serene. Lady Dogon feels the presence of a strange but peaceful power. After receiving an ovation for his presentation on Wa Seti, the lost civilization of Ethiopia, Professor Diop personally introduces Hathor as the final speaker of the symposium.
It's my esteemed pleasure to bring to you this evening a woman who is as fascinating as she is brilliant. We have recently voted to make her one of the master teachers of the Institute, the youngest person to ever hold such a position. She is proficient in several disciplines, from physics to linguistics to chemistry, mathematics and astronomy. She's a bundle of energy and a source of true inspiration to many of us, of the genius that arises in the hour of liberation, truth, and justice. Without further ado, I bring to you Hathor.
The entire gathering of world-renowned scholars, doctors, scientists, and others rise to their feet to pay homage to this uniquely talented and gifted individual. Hathor walks slowly to the rostrum as Professor Diop moves to kiss her on the cheek. She then steps onto the rostrum and graciously accepts her standing ovation. As she surveys her audience, a quiet but soothing background music enters the air. This is a distinct part of every major presentation she gives. Lady Dogon is in careful observance, for she senses that something very unusual and exciting is about to happen. She asks in her mind, "Who is Hathor?" and tries to make mental contact with the Dogon mind knitter. This is not possible, for Hathor has engulfed the entire auditorium with a mind force unlike any Lady Dogon has ever encountered. Hathor begins to speak, and her voice is strong and confident. She is the new Millennium Voice, a clear message from beyond. She will need no multimedia power digital presentation support, no digital holograms. In the ancient African world civilization of Kemet, there was a deep conscious effort to see and to clearly understand the unity of all life, to penetrate the secret of continuing the process of creation. There was a profound search for spiritual perfection, for scientific unity and truth. Come walk with me through the portals of time and see the beauty and splendor of Kemet. Everyone in the auditorium is focused on Hathor as she transports their mind and spirits through the reality sphere portal of a supreme master Numo. As she speaks of pyramids and temples, of altars and plant life, the audience is there, feeling, touching, tasting the atmosphere. They see the life and existence as it was thousands of years ago. They absorb the dominating philosophy and paradigms of the civilization. Death was not viewed or understood as the end of one's life, but as a transmigration and continuation into another form of existence. They discovered the inner nature of plant life and other life forms, of motion, of the continuous thought process that drives us all, of eternal life. The audience is there observing and moving among the people. They experience sunsets, sailing down the Nile River, the placement of the black capstone on top of the Great Pyramid. They witness priests and priestesses paying homage to Amun-Ra and other deities. Spiritual scientists using the power of levitation to build huge monuments, sacrifices to the gods. And they did find peace and harmony, and justice did prevail in the harmony of the opposites. Lady Dogon's psychic powers are fully activated. She is aware of what is happening and is astonished by the incredible powers of Hathor. The audience can actually see the people and absorb their way of life. This is the ultimate scientific experience. Hathor is relentless as she takes her audience further into the portal. For they spoke of eternal life, but never of eternal death, for death cannot be eternal. And they believe that the universe has always been. There is no beginning, there is no end. And for an instant the mind and spirits of the audience traveled through space and time, past galaxies unknown and constellations innumerable, and there was no time, only eternal stillness. And the universe was endless. For an hour, but what seemed like 1,000 years, the audience traveled in a reality sphere of incredible revelations. What each person witnessed will remain in their minds as revealed truth, but they will not know that Hathor had taken them on a powerful journey. After it is over, many will feel a sensation of a powerful rush, similar to a fast-moving adrenaline rush, but that will quickly fade, and they will only think and feel that it was an incredible presentation. That is the true power of Hathor. Hathor slowly brings her audience back to the reality of the present day, and the reality sphere portal is removed. And come back with me to our present world, and let us rejoice that we can better understand the ancient world of Africa and its people. And for a while they had reached a point of spiritual perfection, but then they failed. We must now resurrect the fallen legacy and build a new reality of peace and harmony in this world. I came to you in peace this evening, and now I go, leaving you with peace and blessings. The audience is overwhelmed with joy and feelings of goodwill and new beginnings. The excitement over Hathor's presentation resembles the atmosphere at the close of a Michael Jackson concert. Tari has an astonished look on her face as she turns to speak to Lady Dogon. That was incredible. We need to talk about what this lady did tonight. I felt like I was there. So you were aware of her power. You have grown stronger in your abilities, my daughter, Lady Dogon said. Sai is elated and totally captivated by Hathor, but is unaware of the portal trip. Excuse me, Mom, Tari, I need to get down to the center stage to see her. Wasn't she a total experience? Sai kisses Lady Dogon on the cheek and then rushes off to meet Hathor. Osiris has asked me to have Hathor over for dinner next week, for a more personal meeting. Keep Friday open on your calendar, Tari. I'd like for you to be there, said Lady Dogon. It will be my pleasure. This is one lady I definitely would like to talk to. She is a very strong priestess, Tari said confidently. Lady Dogon ponders that statement. No, my dear, she is much more than a priestess. She has powers and abilities that we do not understand. She is ageless, and her spirit was capable of engulfing this entire auditorium and its occupants. I could not penetrate her mind, not even for an instant. And there were others here attempting to do the same, some friendly and some hostile. She neutralized her foes and left them blank, and they did not go through the portal. Lady Dogon looked at Tari with a very serious demeanor. We must prepare ourselves to meet someone that the prophecy said will manifest during the early days of the end time. That is why she wanted us here tonight, to bear witness to her powers, and to understand that she will help to bring about the great awakening